Call this meeting to order with a moment of silence with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Bless this meeting today, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterwards. We pray for those who are ill, that you will heal them. We pray for those affected by the floods and fires across the United States. While it is foolish to worry about tomorrow, it is wise to prepare our thoughts and emotions for the next day. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings. First item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held July 7th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Are there any guests concerning county business at this time?
I have something I'd like to speak to you.
Would you mind, you could stand up here and
Sure.
state your name and...
Yeah, I didn't know the flow of the meeting here, so I was
Okay.
kind of remaining quiet and not asking questions until I just observed.
Okay.
My name is David Miller. I've lived in
Where are you from?
David Miller.
Where are
I'm
you
from
from?
Weatherly. So I've lived in Carbon County since 2002. And the last 2 years, like everybody else, has been really rough, you know, with business or likewise. So 2 years ago, my position in corporate was dissolved. So after 30 years of working for other companies and making other companies successful, I was faced with trying to figure out what I was going to do next. So we decided to go online and use our skills. And I had been doing sales worldwide online when everybody was under restrictions. So the business was flourishing, and here we are 2 years later. We decided to go brick and mortar, and we chose Lehighton as our home. So Rocky has
Yes,
come to our building, and I'm very excited about that.
Okay.
So I busted his chops a little bit when he first came in. But so the concern I'm bringing today is about the parking in Jim Thorpe, the parking lot in particular. So I don't know if you guys know or not, or are aware, when the blockades are put up and it directs traffic to 903, the businesses in the surrounding areas that go to Lehighton or anywhere else are suffering. You know, we do about half on a Saturday what we do on a Wednesday. So the tourism, it's sorry, I get a little it's really affecting business. So it's the tourism, like Jim Thorpe Day, we were excited. You know, our ribbon cutting happened in May, or April rather, the days are kind of running together. I've been there for 2 months, but we have been busy, but it is noticeably different on weekends because the traffic's routed to 903. So are you guys aware of this, or?
Well, I think we're, like, some of this stuff, I think we've been trying to get together to try to get different signs that are on the PennDOT roads. And I don't even know, like, even in the Lehighton area, wasn't the steering committee working on something with signs when you're coming through Lehighton to
I'm not
direct
sure.
them?
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
aware of
think,
that.
and that might be something like to check with the borough.
Yeah.
I know they wanted to have it that, I mean, they're trying to revitalize
Sure.
downtown, and they wanted to do different signage. Now, if
Right.
they did that, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something that you could bring up to them.
Yeah,
that-
I understand there are
Yeah.
things in the back burner. I can't speak on their behalf. I'm just
Yeah.
speaking. I spoke with different businesses right along First Street there, and all of us are feeling the same pain.
Yeah.
And part of the thing is, like, during Wednesday and Thursday, we have great community support. We have, you know, we have repeat customers and all that, but the times that really are crucial for our businesses to grow, especially, I know the chamber is trying to utilize Lehighton as the Jim Thorpe overflow,
Right.
because Jim Thorpe is crazy busy. It's busier than it's ever been.
Yeah.
You know, Wednesday and Thursday are the new Friday like it used to be 2 years ago. So when we block any traffic directed out of Jim Thorpe to Lehighton, you lose a giant portion of tourism. So on Jim Thorpe Day, I was like, oh great, like this is our first really test to see what tourism's gonna bring. And there was the excitement about 6,000 plus that are coming to Jim Thorpe. We were looking at each other. There was like nobody. I was like, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So we drove down and I was like, well, there it is. Like, it was blocked off. So we can do signage. We can put signs all over the place, but if the traffic's directed to another place, your average out-of-towner is gonna put in the GPS, because they're in a non-familiar area coming out of that parking lot, and they're gonna put the GPS for home. That GPS is not gonna take them to Lehighton. You know, it's gonna take them the fastest route to 476.
And I think that's something, I mean, we've been talking about this all the time, Chris. It's like with the Pocono Visitors Bureau.
Yeah.
Like we have to connect with everybody and try to connect everybody
Sure.
together, all the towns. But I think that's something we just discussed at the last meeting, so we are, I would say we're working on it. Now, how long it's gonna take, I don't know, I can't tell you that.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, we were kind of hoping things would kind of get in motion prior to the holiday season, because we're already missing out on all the tourism for the summer.
Yeah,
You know, where it's like, people are on their vacations, they're looking to spend money. I know there's a lot of papers and the trend out there is the economy's not great, and people don't have a lot of money to go around, and gas prices are high. I'm gonna call a total bluff on that, because there's so much money being spent in Carbon County that it's contrary to that. There were people here during the pandemic that were window shopping and angry that stores weren't open, you know?
yeah.
They had a little bit more money to go around, but people are still traveling, they're still spending money. And we're just trying to figure out businesses like ours that in Lehighton, that the chamber and the borough are doing revitalization projects. They're doing a great job at it. But if we're doing all this stuff right in town and not getting the flow of tourism that we need to support that, it's really gonna hurt us.
Dave, what's the name of your business and what service do you provide?
My name, the name of the business is Within Harmony,
Okay.
and I sell crystals, fossils, minerals from around the world.
So at not this week's, but the previous month's activity coordination meeting with PMVB, Carbon Chamber, JTTA, we did have a representative from one of the organizations in Lehighton who did present that specific
Right.
concern. Now, I will tell you, unfortunately, when we had our meeting this past week, that issue was not readdressed to find some accommodation, because you're spot on. The fact is, as soon as people hit the 903 bridge, that GPS is taking you up over the Maury Road.
They're
It's
going.
not routing you up over what we
Yeah.
call the Liberties and down here
Yeah.
and back around. So that is a problem. And, you know, the reality is, unfortunately, our next formal meeting isn't till late next month.
Sure.
But I'll go ahead and get something out to the members of that organization to say, you know, this is something we really need to consider.
Yeah.
You know, start thinking about now, not waiting to our next meeting, because that meeting's a ways off. And most of the, at least summer, will be gone before we can address it. Cause I noticed that no left turn isn't just Saturdays and Sundays anymore.
It's
You
every
know,
single
that's the
weekend,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, you'll start seeing it on Fridays even.
Yep.
Right, like you
Yeah.
said, our weekend has started earlier here.
Right.
So I think us, Rocky and I and Wayne, will ensure we bring it to the attention again of that coordination group, to see what we can do to help, again,
Yeah.
share the wealth that's coming into this
Yeah,
county.
there's plenty to go around, you know,
No,
like
we
with
don't.
tourism,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But, and I'm realistic, I understand Jim Thorpe does have situations when it comes to traffic flow because of the volume of people coming in. You know, and I remember Jim Thorpe wasn't always the tourist city that it is now. So, and I reflect on that, you know, like what if I'm wondering if they face some of the similar things, and, you know, so I'm grateful for any efforts you guys do, any kind of forward motion, and after being in retail and management for almost 30 years, fourth quarter is crucial for any business. And if you're a brand new business in the county, it's really a bigger deal than somebody that's been around for 10 to 15 years. You know, that's kind of the make or break year.
And I think some of
into
the
it.
times, like when we look at it, in fact, I went over like with the parking the other day, when you go on the app, it's Jim Thorpe,
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, it doesn't really spread out like the whole county. And that's something I think we're looking into, that these different apps, that there's different options for those apps.
yeah,
You know,
I
and we're,
agree.
and hopefully we can do that within the next couple months. Cause
Yeah.
like everybody thinks the summer is over and it's done.
Yeah,
No,
it's
we're
not.
just starting.
Yeah.
I mean, you get like Oktoberfest and Christmas.
Yeah.
You think it's crazy now, it might be crazy
It's-
then.
Yeah, Oktoberfest is huge, like the all month long in Jim Thorpe. And even when Jim Thorpe doesn't have festivals going on, we're at the heart of ski resorts. You know, like
Oh,
there,
yeah.
there are things to do in Carbon County without festivals, you know, so it's a big deal. But yeah, I mean, all the businesses on First Street welcome any of you guys to come in and chat with us anytime you want. We're always available. And the one thing that I really was excited about First Street, all the businesses work together.
Yeah,
all,
they do.
all of them communicate together. I mean, my ribbon cutting, I had 5 or 6 of the business owners at my ribbon cutting, and they didn't know me. You know, like, I was the new guy with the new store. You know, so I was really excited to see that, because there is a tight community. You know, and everybody wants to see success. You know, all
And,
around.
and I see that in every town. You
Yeah.
know, like if you go to Palmerton,
Yeah.
you know, like Carbon County is a little unique than other counties.
is.
I mean, they all huddle together, and even sometimes they go to different towns for
Yeah.
referencing the others. So
big.
I said, we have a very good county, and I appreciate your question that you had.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to get you an answer or something and work on, we'll pass it
follow
on.
up with you, Dave,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. We won't leave it hanging out there.
Appreciate
May
it.
not be the answer you want to hear, but we'll get an answer, all right?
I got it.
All
right, well,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the opening of bids for the CDBG project, Mahoning Township Street Improvements, Center Road, fiscal year 2019, 20, and 21. Reconstruct and pave Woodlawn Drive to Maple Drive. And the first bidder is Recon Construction Services Incorporated out of York, Pennsylvania. Okay. The total amount bid, $272,187.50.
There is a bond for 10% of the bid.
Okay. The next bidder is Dawn E. Bauer Incorporated out of Berwick, Pennsylvania. The total amount bid, $303,478.25.
And there is a bond for 10% of the bid.
Next bidder is the H&K Group Incorporated out of Skip-Pack, Pennsylvania. The total amount bid, $301,129.81.
And there is a bond for 10% of the bid.
And the last bidder is Lehigh Asphalt Paving and Construction Company out of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. The total amount bid, $272,155.
There's a bond for 10% of the bid.
Move that we table for a period not to exceed 2 weeks so the bids can be assessed for the lowest fiscally responsible, technically feasible option.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
The report of executive session, Sal?
We do not have any this week.
Department reports, the budget transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of check numbers 229851 through 230055 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $883,892.47.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
The treasurer's report.
Move to accept.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
The personnel report for county departments.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
The acknowledgements for the courts and row offices.
Motion acknowledged.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon request. Parks and Recreation, the vehicle fleet financing. For approval and execution, proposals submitted by Enterprise Fleet Management of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for 3 additional vehicles under the vehicle fleet financing and maintenance of the master open-end equity lease agreement, which was approved April 27th, 2017. Agenda item number 17-159. The vehicle monthly cost and maintenance program is for a term of 60 months, and it is for 2022 Ram trucks as listed.
Move to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
A revised proposal for approval and execution. The revised proposal submitted by Enterprise Fleet Management of Harrisburg for 1 additional vehicle under the vehicle fleet financing and maintenance of the master and equity lease agreement approved April 27, 2017. Agenda item number 17-159. Vehicle monthly cost and maintenance program with a term of 60 months. This replaces the agreement which was previously approved June 9th, 2022. Agenda item number 22-284. This is for the 2022 Ford Ranger at $544.63 per month.
Move to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
The solicitor's report.
Thank you. Seeking a motion for acceptance of a proposal from Snyder Hoffman Associates Incorporated of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for mechanical and engineering services for the rooftop unit replacement at the administration building in the amount of $7,200. Any additional services not outlined in the scope of work will be billed on the hourly basis, which was attached to the proposal.
Motion. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
second. Yeah.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
We've received a banner request for display at the Jim Thorpe train station from the Jim Thorpe Lions Club for the 27th annual Jim Thorpe Halloween Parade on October 22nd of 2022 with a rain date of October 23, 2022. The banner to be displayed from October 7th, 2022 until October 25th, 2022.
Move to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Any further business?
None at this time.
Commissioners' reports? Mr. Arner?
The only thing I have, I don't have much on the report, but I just want to explain what the solicitor's report was about. What we're looking into is to having the HVAC system here replaced on this building, which is going to wind up being a roof renovation project also. But we're going to sort of handle it the way that it was done up at the prison. Instead of having 3-4 entities involved in it, Tremco will probably be the construction managers of the project. And then this Snyder Huffman will be the ones doing the specs for the heating system here. And I think what we're looking at for the heating system is we're gonna get something that is gonna replace this. It's been here for 18 to 20 years. but the system that's gonna be put in is gonna be able to be upgraded over the years, that we don't have to spend all this money at one time. There's a lot of things that, you know, this project hopefully will be under $1 million instead of creating it to be a $3 million job. And there's different things that have to be done in the building itself, even with electrical upgrades. But that's something I think we're gonna have to do as the years go on and put into our budget every year. You know, it's one of those things, we gotta start watching where our money's going. And like I said, it's gonna be almost handled the same way. And that's how we did it up there at the prison. You know, there was, you know, the Tremco was the construction manager of it. And then that way they went to them instead of having another engineer, another construction manager. We're just cutting out, we're gonna be the middleman. That's how it's gonna be. And that's all I have for now.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Meeting adjourned.
Yep.
We're gonna move on to opening the election board meeting up.
Morning.
Morning.
It's a short one.
We'll see.
Yes, it might not be.
Well, never mind. Approval of minutes from the election board meeting held May 20th and then reconvened June 9th, 2022.
Move to approve?
Second,
Mr. Owner,
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
I don't think there's guests.
Any guests concerning election board business? None.
I just wanted to give an update. So the Department of State is working in our shore system. To anybody that had a permanent, it will automatically go to the permanent for November. They're working on it. However, the process is going alphabetically by county, so we're higher on the food chain. But the ending is until August 31st. So we have the option to start processing them in the computer if we wish. I'm gonna give it like maybe another week or so, just to see how quickly it happens. We have 3,200 pending for a mail-ins. We entered about like 60 paper, and they just opened the portal at this Department of State, I believe, the 12th. So we didn't get any new ones yet as far as like internal through the system.
Anything else? You have something,
Any
Chris?
further business?
Yeah, we'll go to move.
Yeah, so, right, there's probably, Lisa, probably no two more sensitive voting issues to a significant portion of the voting population in regards to integrity. Voting machines and then ballot boxes. Let's talk a little bit about ballot boxes, drop boxes in Carbon County. You have a proposal out there for one. Talk a little bit about it. Why do you think we need it? What would be the safeguards in place and things like that?
So I know from having one in 2020, I mean, it was huge. You know, we needed it. I mean, at that time. I like the fact that it's at our building, or it was at our building. We don't have the staff to man, you know, boxes all over the county. They need to be manned. They need to have, you know, cameras on them 24/7. There's like a whole, now there's a new way. They're like, you know, you empty the drop box, you enter all the last names and what date it was in, so everyone knows. So if Mr. Smith calls and says, well, I put mine in on Tuesday, no, you didn't, it was Wednesday, whatever the case is. But we want, you know, we have, you know, we've been looking into that. Because once you pick a place that's not outside your office, everyone wants one. You know,
Yeah,
so
right.
that's why, because we did it in 2020, I know it was like attached to our office, but if we can put it right outside our office, it's not, hopefully not gonna, I mean, people still wanna come to our office, but they'd rather come after hours. So,
So they don't wanna meet you, but.
Yeah.
well, I think it's just,
No, I get
you know,
it,
I
yeah.
mean, parking, that's like
Yeah,
the biggest thing
well,
is parking.
Yeah, sure.
Cause I also, another thing I'd like to propose, like when the election's coming closer, if we do have a box, that we can rent or utilize
A
like
space or
3 on the street maybe even. You know, people don't stay long. You know, they drop stuff off and, you know, no, we don't want, the box isn't gonna be used for like applications, it's just for ballots. So it's only gonna be open for like 3 weeks, or utilized for 3
Right,
weeks. You know, so I mean, I know there's cameras already on it, so that wasn't, you know, any kind of a cost that we would have to, you know, I know we would have to record or keep different things, you know, for people.
Right.
But that was brought up at a conference where I was just at, and I mean, I do think a lot of people want to know why we don't have it. But I mean, like when we were up, it just, now it makes more sense, but when we were temporarily up there, like it
Yeah.
just didn't make sense. You know, so I mean, you know, I just think it's something, I think it could be done quickly, but we're just gonna have it open for those 3 to 4 weeks once the ballots go out.
And like I said, you said like about the security, and we did check into it, but what you don't realize, you have to have that, if you unlock that box, say the second week of September, or the third week, that has to be on film for
Well, right,
24
and that's what-
hours,
right, that's
all
what
the
we
way
just talked
until
about.
that, if the election is what date it is, you have to have that
Right.
taped until the next day, because somebody's probably gonna come around and say, well, I seen so-and-so throwing something in there, or somebody took something out, so you have to have a backup for that. I mean, we have to be prepared. I mean, I have no problem with it as long as we're prepared,
Right,
you know, and we have to monitor it very well.
I know that Philadelphia was one of the counties that was at the meeting. They literally have 3 deputy commissioners who like run their election board, and they man those boxes 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's crazy. I mean, if they have the people to do it, that's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can only get your ballot, you know, give it to us, then you should only be putting one in the box. I mean, it's not that difficult, I don't think, to comprehend as far as that. Like, we wanted everyone to be, you know, transparent. However, if it's your ballot and you're putting it in, you
And
can drop it off to our office as well.
Is there like any kind of an option, like say if we would open it up for them, like people wanna go to work in the morning, and it's 6 o'clock? Can we have that unlocked at 6
Well,
and
that's
then
what
lock
I-
it back at 8, like have
Well,
a time?
I kind of wanted, I mean, since there would be a camera on it, I just was gonna, like, open it for the 4, like, once the ballots are mailed, from that day until election day at 8 p.m.
What, 24/7?
And the only, like, my concern is also, is we didn't do it in the primary, is it gonna confuse people for
people
the
are already
regular
asking
action?
for it,
You know,
yeah.
I think as long as we advertise it, I think it would be fine, but I said, we gotta keep a good eye on it. I mean,
So-
you're gonna scrutiny somewhere.
So Lisa, currently, if I'm bringing in a ballot, I can only bring my ballot
Correct.
to you.
Yes.
So how are you going to ensure that individuals coming to a ballot box are actually putting their ballot in there and not of a third party?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. If you want to man them, that's what they're doing in other counties, but we don't have that kind of people.
Well-
They literally, if they see someone with 3 ballots, they'll stop them.
Okay, so the election code or law requires an individual to only hand you their ballot.
Correct.
So
And
if
it's
we
also-
can't have someone 24/7, then we're in violation of the law.
Well, I guess my point is, if they can drop it off to us during 8:30 and 4:30, we don't even need a box. You know what I mean? But
Right.
people that want to come in at night because of the,
Right.
you know, traffic and
Yeah,
whatsoever.
right.
I mean, if we have to have someone in the office for a couple hours a night, I mean, we can do that. But then
And
they can just come in and give it to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, well, I
You
think the
know, I
problem
mean-
is, I honestly, and I put this in my comments on the sheet that went around, I don't see the policies and procedures set up yet. And I think procuring it before there's a true solid plan is putting, you know, the cart before the mule or
Right.
the horse.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a camera on the other one. That's just, I mean, we just had like it was like a mailbox more so than, like, they put in, you know, report, because of COVID, everyone just put everything in there. We got
Right.
applications
But
in
we
there,
have
we
a
got everything
deputy
in there.
sheriff there from 8:30 to 4:30.
Right, but it was open all the time.
Right.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? It was open 24/7, that box.
But there were cameras on it that we could
Well,
review
yes,
if
I just
somebody
mean,
did it.
right, I don't
was
mean it
still-
wasn't cameras, I
yeah.
just mean like it was part of the building, so it went into the building. This is gonna be like freestanding, kind of.
Yeah.
And I
you know.
mean, if you wanna accommodate to the public, I mean, we did it before, remember, they were there till what, 6 or 7 o'clock?
Night,
A couple
Yeah.
nights, I mean, I think that's options, I think maybe this week we have to
We
discuss.
just need to
on-
tighten
on-
up.
yeah, on what we
If
wanna
we're
do,
gonna move forward, let's make sure we
yeah.
got it
Yeah.
tight and.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of don't understand that either, because people call and say, oh, can I drop off my ballot? We're like, yeah, oh, well, don't you have a drop box? Well,
Yeah, I know.
we're here. Well, I don't
Right.
want to go into town.
Yeah.
And again, I know it's busy.
Yeah.
So that's why I figured, even if we have like spots dedicated like out front
Yeah,
without a box,
yeah,
it gives them a reason, like somewhere to park.
yeah.
Because we get that a lot. I mean, I've already walked like down the street to get a ballot from someone in their car because they can't park and they can't walk that far.
You know, even if it maybe even temporary in 44, during that period, take one of those spots, just like, you know, we do it
Right.
all the time for veterans because of the constant. But
Right.
maybe if we do that in the 4476 lot versus having to deal with the borough of Jim Thorpe.
No, and that's fine.
You know?
It's just that we would have to like put signs up
Well,
that
there's
say
actually,
for
like-
elections or yeah.
Right, exactly.
There's like 2 spots right there that we
Yeah.
could dedicate for that.
Yeah.
But then we
Yeah.
have to have a wrecker sitting there, so make sure there's somebody else
Right.
parked there
Well, I
for
mean,
over 5
there's even
minutes.
that. There's a little section like it's between where everyone parks, but people will pull in there, run in.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I mean, they tell us, so like we, you know, obviously we watch, but they're not in there very long.
No.
Right, yeah.
You know, so it's usually not a big deal. Like they don't get ticketed. They're only there.
Well, we're just gonna have to have further discussion
Yeah,
on it
'cause
this
we
week
need a
before we
space
even
on that.
say something.
Right, thanks, Lisa.
Sure.
That
Okay,
And
thank
what
you.
was your other question?
No, that was it. That
Oh,
was
I thought
really,
you said
it was
about voting equipment. Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
really focused on the box.
Okay.
and ensuring that if we're gonna move ahead, let's ensure we, you know, cross all our Ts and dot our Is.
Okay.
You know, before making the purchase.
Anything else, I guess? Nothing? Meeting adjourned.
Yep.
Okay, which news outlet do I pick
Oh, wow.
first? No, wait,
It's kind of tough.
okay,
on
right.
'Cause I can't-
What do you got for me?
I guess really just talk about how important is it to get this HV system here fixed and, under budget kind of thing?
Well, I look at it like, I mean, since I've been here, there's hot areas, there's cold areas. Something isn't working correctly. So I think it's getting to the point that it's overextending its life. And I think we're heating and then cooling. You know, when you cool in the summer, you shouldn't have to have heat running if it runs too much cold air in, and then you heat the building up. I think if we do this, if we can keep it under our budget, I think it's gonna reflect on our yearly budget on what we're gonna spend on this building. I mean, here we got the controller, we got Miss Ellie there, and everybody else that's throughout this building, and it's like hot in the summer, and then all of a sudden it's too cold. And the same thing in the winter. It's like, it's very erratic. And like I said, if we put a system in that can be added on to, just like at your home, if you would have, these air conditioning units that you could add 5 units to, that's what we want to do. We want to have something that's here that would take the upgrades if we had it at the electrical systems, that we don't have to spend something afterwards. I mean, we're looking at something we spend and keep spending. I think we have to spend and have something that's not going to cost as much years down to upgrade. There's not, we don't, and we have systems that are put in that I think are brand new that I don't think they're working well. I think maybe the way that this system is, maybe we just need a new burner, or a new unit, and then see how it is, accommodate to each floor on how it is. If we got to put different dampers in, I mean, sometimes you go and revamp the whole thing and it doesn't work as good as what we got now. So I think we just have to take little tiny steps, and I said that's what it's looking at. I think looking at what we can afford and what we're looking at long-term effects.
What's the timeline do you hope to get this completed by?
Well, we're gonna put it on the bid, but it probably will not start until next June, somewhere around then. And it's because of the units take up to 40 weeks to get them. So once we would put it out the bid and approve it, we would probably buy the units that we have it, that when they're ready to do the roof, and that all can be all done within 1 or 2 weeks' time instead of dragging it out over months.
Would you get the whole roof redone that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
You can hear the drips in your
Yeah.
ceiling, when it rains.
Yeah, I know Chris, like I come in sometimes a little bit earlier,
Yep.
but sometimes they're in replacing the ceiling tiles that are on Chris's floor, or there's a little garbage can in the back, so it's
Yeah.
minor stuff. But it's something that has to be addressed before it does become a major issue.
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay. Now, anybody else? No? All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.